Yo, what is up, YouTube? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a Relic tier list for support. The game just got changed around a lot. A lot of relics got cooldown buffs, got buffs elsewhere. So yeah, we're going to be throwing together a little tier list for these items. Are they bought on literally every god can buy it in support, from Anubis support down to Kumba? I was trying to think of like the opposite of Anubis, and I don't know why like Kumba is the one that like came to mind, but yeah, it's like every support that you think of that you can play, they're gonna be good on all of them. And then there's gonna be the very specific ones that are just like mediocre, they're not very great, not many people are gonna buy them, which are gonna be like A-ish, B-ish tier. And then C tier is, please do not buy this relic in any ranked game ever, please, ever, or any game ever. Casual, a joust game, never, ever. All right, we'll start off with a Blink. So Blink has kind of been what Smite's been balanced around a lot. The game is basically made around Blink and Beads as like the two most important relics. Right now, Blink is 45 units. It used to be 55 and then 50 and now 45. It's a 140-second cooldown, which is pretty long, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And then when you upgrade it, it's 2 minutes. And it gives you a 10% mitigation when you upgrade it. I think it is not bad, but it has gotten like, if you think about how good Blink used to be, when Blink was originally in the game, it was 55 units and it was on a 45-second cooldown. 45-second cooldown. You were literally blinking on a base just for the heck of it. Current Blink, still very, very good. The game is balanced around Blink. You kind of need Blinks in every game. But I think Blink as a support relic is probably the weakest it's ever been. Some gods obviously still need Blink. If you're playing Ares without Blink, F6, like the game's over, you're probably losing. Circuit, you're obviously going to want Blinks. It's not as necessary as it used to be. Almost every god used to pick up Blink, and now it's got nerfed so much, it's more of like a jungle, sometimes solo. I'm going to put it in an A because I do think it's gotten a lot worse, and I don't think it decides the game as much as it used to. This is Purple Bracer, but pretend it's the gold one, the good one currently, not the old dual garbage one. Bracer right now, I actually think it's probably one of the best current relics in the game because of just how strong it is. It gives you 10% power and 15% movement speed if you're below half health, or 10% power above half, 15% movement speed below half for 8 seconds when you leave the area. It lasts for 90 seconds and it's on 100-second cooldown. When you upgrade it, it goes up to 15% power and it acts as a sentry ward too, which is sick. I think this is one of the better relics to upgrade because having a sentry ward, like if you compare a regular ward to a sentry ward, it's twice as expensive and an extra 20 gold. And you can only get one of them because they're so good. And the 50% power is also insane. I think this is almost bought in every game right now. That's how strong it is. So I'm going to put it in S. I might move it up to S+. I'm trying to think if there's any real OP relic right now. And I don't know if I'm putting Bracer in that right now. So we'll just hold it in the S tier for now. Next is Cursed Ankh, which is a 120-second cooldown, reduces healing for 40% for 10 seconds, and removes 15% currently applied shields. And it's a 120-second cooldown. My take on healing is that healing is OP, but anti-heal is even more OP. Like if you look at how good Cursed Ankh is, mostly the upgrade. The upgrade, once you upgrade it, they take 20% extra damage. So you basically get a double sunder on them. I think this one's probably the biggest discrepancy between the tier 1 and the tier 2. Because the tier 1 is like a B, C tier. Like it's basically a divine rune that has a like 120-second cooldown, which is pretty bad. And then when you upgrade it, it's like a,
if any healers in here, you will die.
So like, I'm going to rank it based on it overall. So how much is that 500 gold needed? If it's needed a lot more, I think it won't be ranked as high because the tier 1 as an S+ means it's OP, and then it gets even better once you upgrade it. So I'm going to put it in S because I think that like the bottom upgrade of it is whatever. And then you upgrade it and it's like the game is over for the healer, or the game is already lost because the healer is super far ahead. Actually, I'm going to put it in A instead because it's not really bought every game. Not a lot of people are going to be buying it. You don't really rush it. So yeah, I should change my mind. We're going to go A with the Cursed Ankh upgrade. Now we got Frenzy. Probably one of my favorite relics. It was a little bit weaker. I think it kind of got passed up by Bracer when Bracer was added into the game. Within 70 units, 10% increased damage dealt to all targets and 25% attack speed. Cooldown is 2 minutes. When you upgrade it, it'll last for 8 seconds and you get 10 pen. So I think the biggest discrepancy between Bracer and Frenzy is Bracer for that 8 seconds, 5 seconds if it's not upgraded, is a lot stronger. Even the base of Frenzy is just stronger than the base of Bracer for that 5 seconds, I guess. But Bracer lasts for 90 seconds and you can keep refreshing it and you can walk out of that range and basically get that bracer refreshed every time you like go through it, which I think makes it insane. The difference is Frenzy will allow objectives to just pop way faster. If you can win or commit to that team fight in that 5 to 8 seconds, Frenzy's better. But if you don't have like that great engage, or if somebody doesn't have beads, or if you know they're going to try to avoid that fight, you're better off just going the bracer. And that's like the biggest difference is you have one time with Frenzy to try to get something going. That buff from 15% attack speed to 25% attack speed was nice, and it actually makes this relevant early game. It's something where you can actually start it and do a Gold Fury at like 8 minutes because you have this 25% attack speed and 10% increased damage. Like, it's actually really effective. But the difference is Bracer is kind of the same thing. Obviously, you're not going to kill it as fast, but if they come and try to defend that Gold Fury, Frenzy's now on cooldown. Bracer, it's still there. It's still giving you vision, and it's still refreshing the power or movement speed. Therefore, I'm going to put Frenzy in A because it's good, but it's not great, and it's just kind of outdone a little bit by the Bracer right now. Horrific Emblem slows enemy units for 30% for 5 seconds, and their attack speed is reduced by 25% for the duration, and the cooldown is 110 seconds. When you upgrade it, the attack speed... Their attack speed... Wait. I want you guys to see this. This is funny to me. I never even noticed this before. So, like, if you look here, on the non-upgraded version, it says it's also reduced by 25% for the duration. And then you look at this. Attack speed is reduced by 25% for the duration. It's literally the same thing. The only difference is also is removed. For some reason, 25% is highlighted there. Yeah, that kind of threw me off. Additionally, their damage dealt is reduced by 15%. Horrific is a very aggressive relic. It's something where if you're winning the game and you have it horrific, it makes it very hard to play into because it's so just oppressive. Like, it feels like it's hard to fight into. You're just getting locked down. Sometimes you even have to beads the slow, which feels terrible. Is there anything worse than using your beads on a slow? You feel so stupid, but you have to do it sometimes. But it's so stupid. I think Horrific Emblem Upgraded is super strong. It's very, very strong. It's probably an S tier with the upgrade, but I think the base one is just like meh. If the gods were reliant on attack speed, it's good, but a lot of assassins are just going Jotuns and just one-hitting without many auto attacks, so it's really only relevant against the enemy ADC or for the slow. Therefore, I'm going to put it in A also with the rest of these. I think it's good, not great. Med. Probably my favorite. I don't think I've said this yet, but it's probably my favorite relic change. Bracer was okay, but it wasn't that exciting. I liked how Med was before, but it just wasn't good, and now they made it good. And I love that. Using this item causes you to enter a meditative state where nearby enemies, gods within 35 units restore 8 plus 5% of their missing health and mana each tick. And it lasts for 4 seconds, and it's on a 140-second cooldown. And when you upgrade it, every tick, you get 1 second cooldowns off your abilities for allies. You're probably underestimating that cooldown tick, but as a mage or an assassin, or a mage or a hunter, and if you're getting that tick, it feels insane. You feel like your abilities are always up. It's like Deso procs off cooldown. You're just getting like 7 seconds, 5, 3, 1, and you're already casting your ability even though it's an 8-second cooldown, but like Med is kind of sick. It's also insane for the laning phase. Having that extra mana, extra health just gives you basically a second health bar almost. And it's very oppressive to be able to have that Med and go for that second purple buff because you're either topped, or if you aren't topped, if they do try to trade into you, you have this extra healing. So I think Med is strong. Again, it's just not great. It's really good. It's like A, but like it's not great. It's not like Bracer tier, so it's also an A tier relic. I'm gonna put Phantom as the first B tier before I even read it off because of just how unlikely it is that you're gonna be buying it. It's very rare that you're like, dude, this is a good Phantom game. Like, very rare. I mean, there's definitely some where if they have like a Yamoja and then you have like a Zeus mid for some reason because he thought Zeus sounded fun, so he picks Zeus, and then you're like, why do I have a Zeus? I mean, I guess I'll get Phantom, or maybe I go Frenzy and we can just try to kill people before he dies, because if I Phantom him, he's still probably gonna die. So maybe I just like, we try to kill before and we don't even Phantom this, and let's just try to kill him. Yeah, I actually like that. Let's go Frenzy. Like, that's kind of like the thought process. Hardly ever is Phantom like, oh, that's sick, that's a good Phantom. You know, it was okay. It was okay. I actually think the strongest part of Phantom is the upgrade when it gives you 15% mitigation for 5 seconds. The problem with it for me that makes it not unreal is that the mitigation only lasts for 5 seconds. The entire effect lasts for 10. The wall effect, being able to walk through walls effect, lasts for 10. But the mitigation only lasts for 5. So you either have to get off a great Phantom where they're actually putting damage into you and it's an all-in and all their damage is used in that 5 seconds, or it's going to be like, well, that did not feel very good. I feel like I really didn't do anything that fight by Phantoming my teammate. I think that is kind of the biggest problem. If it was kind of based around maybe 8 seconds. How long it lasts, I think it would be a bit better, but I'm going to put it in B tier. Beads. Okay, at this point, everybody knows what beads do. It makes you CC immune for 2 seconds, and it's a 160-second cooldown. That's literally what the item does. It's broken. It's literally the best relic in the game. The game is, even more than it was balanced against around Blink, it's balanced around beads. If beads weren't in the game would be terrible to play. But beads are so OP, man. S tier. If you feel like you're going to die a lot because you're going to fall behind, or you have no CC immunity, or they have just a lot of CC like a Fenrir, just build beads, man. Who cares, man? Just build the beads. Aegis, again, it's kind of the same thing like beads. It makes you immune to damage for, I think it's 1.5 seconds, and it's a 180-second cooldown. C tier. Don't buy it. I don't think... There's almost always a better option than Aegis. Shell. The Shell buff was actually pretty nice. I actually like what they did with it. Shell before was a shield that was 100 health plus 12 per level, so it was up to 340. 20 times 12. Yeah, 240. 240 plus 100. 130. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. My math was right. 340. Yeah. And it lasts for 3 seconds. All allies take 20% reduced damage from base attacks while the shield is active. And then when you upgrade it... Okay, is this another thing where the... What's it called? Doesn't make sense? It's literally the exact same thing, except it says all allies take 20% reduced damage from basic attack. Like... It just highlights 20%. It's the exact same. Okay, well, now I'm kind of curious. I'm actually super curious about this now. Is Shell the exact same item? I thought it was... They kept it at 50% when you have the shield up, and then it was 20% for the 3 seconds. But I could be wrong, and now they just nerfed Shell and made it even worse. How much does she auto for? 36? 29? So that's 20% less. Okay, let's upgrade this bad boy. Does it say it's still 20% here? Okay. So we hit for 29 again. Okay, so it's just bugged. This is supposed to say 50% reduced damage. I was just curious. So it's just bugged in the text, in-game text, but it's 50%. When you upgrade it, it's 20% beforehand. So Shell gives you 340 shield for 3 seconds and 20% basic attack reduction when it's level 1, and when you upgrade it, it's 50%. Shell is just not great. Shell was OP when it had absorb sacks, and then they reduced it down to 50, and it just didn't feel like the actual shield was effective. 340 is even reduced by 50% is like an auto and a half from an ADC or half a mage ability. In the laning phase, it might feel decent because it's like 112, but it just doesn't scale well enough into the late game. It's more of an early game relic. Maybe some gods like Circuit, it's a little bit better against because healing isn't effective against her. Or maybe Odin because your mid lane god can't get out of the cage, so maybe you want the Shell. But it's not good, and it's unfortunate because there's not really that many peel relics. A lot of them are just like offensive. Next is Thorns. Okay, I'm gonna say for you guys, Thorns is C tier. Never buy it. The only god I would actually build it on, maybe 2 gods, and it's if I'm ahead or even, and I feel like it's the little extra damage I need to get kills, and it'd be on like Circuit and maybe Odin. So the base of it is 30% of all damage you take before mitigations for the next 5 seconds are dealt back to the owner as magical damage. And then when you upgrade it, it's enemy lifesteal is only 50% effective against it. So it's basically damage returned by 30% before mitigations. It's just not effective enough in support because you're so far behind. You just kind of get one shot currently in the meta. There's too much damage in the game. You're really not returning enough. So I'm going to put Thorns in C tier. Sprint. I should slow this down here too. Don't buy it. Do I need to talk about it, guys? It's a TP. You teleport to something. If you upgrade it, you teleport to a ward. It's like a 3.5 minute cooldown or something like that. It's not very good. Solo laners don't even buy it, and that's like kind of made for their lane, and they think it's bad. So like, why would a support want to buy it when it's not even good in the role that it's meant to be in? It's like beads being bad, so ADCs and mids didn't even buy it, and they bought something else instead. So we're gonna throw TP into C tier. Maybe if you're genetics, we'll put it in B tier, but everyone else, C tier relic. Sprint. I think the buff to sprint actually was pretty nice. Lowering the cooldown made it so it's not 2.5 minutes almost for it to come back up. If you go this and like a relic dagger, it's almost always up. It's an 80-second cooldown, which is 1 minute and 20 seconds. And fights at a competitive level, maybe less ranked, they only happen once every minute, maybe 2 minutes. So I think Heavenly Wings in a comp setting will be really strong. Heavenly Wings in a ranked setting, still pretty good, but a little less weak. And upgraded Heavenly Wings, I feel like people underrated a bit. That gas pedal effect for ADCs that can just backpedal and just like, Honor can just keep spearing you with backpedaling autos as he's like critting you for like 300 and you can't hit him because he's so fast. Like, it's a bit underrated. I'm going to put it in A, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was the only other starter in S. I don't think many of these other starters are that good. The only other one I would consider is Frenzy into the S tier. The rest are probably a bit worse. So right now, my 2 favorite relics in Smite for support are these 2. Sunder's gotten nerfed a bit too much. We're going to throw it in A tier just because I still think it's okay. It's a bolt that does 7.5% current health as true damage, reducing any active shields by 50%. Targets hit take a 5% increased damage for 5 seconds, stacking 2 times. And then when you upgrade it, it's 12.5% of their current health as true damage, 75% active shields, and 7% increased damage for 5 seconds, stacking 2 times. So it got nerfed a lot, and thank goodness. It was terrible to play against. I hated this relic. This is probably my least favorite relic in the game because it's just used to kill tanks. It's not used to kill ADCs or anything. Like, it should be designed as just like a good 1v1, maybe like a pick item, but it's just used to kill tanks, and it was so stupid. I'm already squishy. I'm going to be even squishier with this one. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might even put it into B. Is there like a A- tier? Can I add a tier? Okay, if I wasn't super lazy, I'd move these. Wait, I've got it. There we go. There's the tier list. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. It gave you a little bit of information about relics and Smite for supports. I hope it guys helps you guys decide what relics you want to be going in your games. And relics are something you want to think about as you're loading in. It's not something that you're like sitting there like, oh no, what do I buy now? And you have like 30 seconds because don't forget the jungle buffs spawn faster. So get out there as fast as you can. You don't want to be the clown waiting in base and late to the jungle buff. Like, don't be that guy. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you guys got any comments about the relics, maybe I play something too low, too high, let me know. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. See ya.